introduce our tonight's speaker, Rexanne, and welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Am I okay? Well, I'm happy to introduce Rexanne. Does it need to come up? I feel like it's low. Is the mic on?
No, we don't have a mic, actually. You may just have to stand. You can, yes.
Stand here?
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yep.
So I'm happy to introduce Rexanne Bruno. Oh, this can't hear?
Let me run and see if we can get a mic. Go ahead. You keep going. I won't be.
I have to stand here too. Okay, gotcha. We're having technical difficulties. Hi, guys. So anyway, Rexanne has been a member of the Williamsburg Bird Club for ever.
Not quite.
For almost ever. She's been birding for 40 years. She's a member of the Virginia Society of Ornithology, actually the past president of the Virginia Society of Ornithology, a member of the steering committee and the final products committee for the second Virginia Breeding Bird Atlas. She was the regional editor for all of the Virginia DC Christmas bird counts, or she is, I guess I should say. So that's why we've got her here. And she's been participating in Christmas bird counts in Virginia and or compiling one since she moved here 25 years ago. So please welcome Rexanne. You can hear her. We're getting a microphone. Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to hear her better.
I'm pretty sure I don't need a mic. I taught.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on the camera.
Do you want to talk first and then screen share, or what do you want to go right into your presentation?
I'm gonna go right in.
Okay,
Here it
so
is.
we're going to share.
Can it slide in there?
Is it going to?
I don't know. There's a clip in.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Let's see. We can get that angle. maybe.
This one.
That's right. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Does that work? Mic better? Excuse me. As you heard, I'm Rexanne Bruno. I've been birding and working on Christmas bird counts for a long time now. And based on those credentials, somebody thought that I knew enough to talk to you tonight about Christmas bird counts. So let me share a few things that I know about Christmas bird counts here in Williamsburg, in Virginia, and elsewhere. And I'll try to entice any of you who aren't currently participating to participate on the Christmas bird counts. So a little background information. Let's see which one of these works for me. There we go. Each Christmas season between December 14th and January 5th, birders around the world participate on Christmas bird counts, which are abbreviated CBCs, and I'll say that a lot so you'll remember it. Each local CBC takes place on a designated day within this time frame. A Christmas bird count is a day-long attempt at censusing the entire bird population in an area. Each local count is conducted in a designated 15-mile diameter circle. Participants count all the birds in their assigned area of the count circle within that 24-hour period from midnight to midnight. They share their checklist with the compiler, who summarizes everything and enters it into the database that's maintained by the National Audubon Society. The bird census information gathered on these CBCs has become the world's longest running ornithological database. All of the data is contributed by volunteers like you and me. It's totally a citizen science project. The first Christmas bird count was a brainstorm of Frank Chapman. And Mr. Chapman was the editor of a newly launched magazine called Bird Lore. He was aware that for many years, hunters had been doing a holiday tradition. They would choose sides and see how much game, birds and animals, they could shoot and see which team had the most on Christmas Day. So in 1900, in the magazine, Chapman proposed conducting a Christmas bird census instead, as an alternative to this Christmas side hunt. And the Christmas bird count was born. 27 people in 25 locations, from Toronto to Pacific Grove, California, read about this in the magazine and counted birds on Christmas Day. 90 species were counted on these first Christmas bird counts conducted on Christmas Day, and the idea caught on quickly. In 1909, 10 counts later, about 200 birders observed over 150,000 birds. Chapman published the results of the Christmas bird counts in Bird Lore all that time. In 1934, the National Audubon Society bought Bird Lore magazine, and they began overseeing the Christmas bird counts and eventually mechanized the database, and it's as it's maintained today by National Audubon Society. Well, it didn't take long before someone did a Christmas bird count in Virginia. In 1904, a birder in Accotink, Virginia, which is a small community southwest of Alexandria in Northern Virginia, it's near Fort Belvoir, if you know where that is. He conducted the first Christmas bird count. And this is the report from Bird Lore magazine for that first Virginia count. Dr. Caton recorded 6 species and 31 individual birds. And if you can read that, your eyes are better than mine. If you can't read it, the 6 birds are bobwhite, crow, cardinal, bluebird, junco, and song sparrow. And notice that he did this while it was hailing and the temperature was 29 degrees. We've all done that, is right. It's when you see the best birds, so. So this indicates, each of these little birds indicates a Christmas bird count that's now conducted in Virginia. And I mean, some of them are outside the border. You have to really envision Virginia. That's the best I could capture. But this gives you an idea of the number of counts that are conducted in Virginia now. There are plenty of them. In fact, there were 56 Christmas bird counts conducted in Virginia last year. Over 1,800 birders participated. They observed over 800,000 birds, 206 different species. Yeah.
Question, what's the difference between the yellow and the green?
I knew somebody was going to ask. He wants to know what the difference between the yellow and the green and the red. I don't remember. It's not critical. I should have looked it up today and I didn't. I did this slide a long time ago. Sorry about that. Today, the majority of Christmas bird counts are conducted still in the United States, but the idea has actually spread around the world. The 123rd season of Christmas bird counts happened last year. Data for almost 2,600 counts were submitted to Audubon, and over 40 million birds were counted. Just like birding anytime, birders hope to see rare birds on Christmas bird counts, especially an unusual species that's never been seen on their count, or maybe not been seen on any Christmas bird count in the state before. So the following are some species that were seen for the first time on some recent Christmas bird counts. This is the first sooty shearwater seen on a Virginia Christmas bird count. It was on the Chesapeake Bay Christmas bird count in 2019. Sooty shearwaters are seen from Virginia shores often, but this is the first time it was seen on a count. The first Anna's hummingbird was found on the Northern Shenandoah Valley Christmas bird count. Whoops, sorry about that. And that was in 2019. I don't know what happened to that slide. Sorry about that. See if that happened anymore. There. In 2020, for the first time on a Virginia Christmas bird count, a pink-footed goose was observed on the nearby Hopewell Christmas bird count. And a western meadowlark was recorded for the first time right here in Williamsburg in 2020. I don't know what happened to those slides, sorry.
Because it's coming through on an Apple.
Oh,
On a PC.
yeah, gotcha. That's right, that's what it is. Hopefully it won't screw up any other slides. And then in 2021, a Hairman's gull was reported on the Hopewell Christmas bird count for the first time. Hopewell Christmas bird counts are a really good count to participate on. They get lots of rare stuff. And then the first black-throated gray warbler on a Christmas bird count was seen on the Fort Belvoir count last year. That was at least not distorted quite as bad. The first Christmas bird count conducted in Williamsburg was in 1946. 36 species were seen by one person, Ray J. Beasley. He did the count on December 22nd, 1946. And this is the report that appeared in the Raven, the Journal of the Virginia Society of Ornithology that year. Mr. Beasley counted birds from William and Mary to Jamestown and back. It's interesting to note that there were no starlings, no pigeons, no house finches, nor house sparrows on this count. There also weren't any waterfowl, but there's really not any water for him to see if he was walking between those two locations. Hmm?
Yeah, he did all that.
I don't know whether he did it on foot.
That's what it says.
Does it say on foot? Oh, okay, yeah. 9 hours on foot, 13, and 13 miles, yeah. So it's a long hike.
Really.
I kind of thought about that on some of the, like those walks, like in the 1900s, it's not like there were cars or anything. People were either walking or on a trolley to do the counts, but I didn't think about him. I didn't pay that much attention that he was walking because I just found this a few days ago to see what that count was. I had, so. For unknown reasons, another Christmas bird count wasn't conducted in Williamsburg until 1977. This is the Bird Club newsletter report for that next Christmas bird count. That year, 30 birders counted almost 3 times as many species. I think it says 100 species in the last line, as we're seeing on that first one in 1946. He doesn't really list the species, but I looked at the list. They now had snow goose, tundra swan, American widgeon, northern pintail, canvasback, redhead, long-tailed duck, common goldeneye, had gulls, Bonapartes, herring, and great blackback, sparrows, vesper, savanna, and swamp, purple finches, pine siskins, and evening grosbeak. Of the club too, and it was the first year that they started doing counts. Yeah, that the bird club was organized that year and then did a Christmas bird count. Yep. Since 1977, Christmas bird counts have been conducted annually in Williamsburg. This past year, on December 18th, these 112 species were observed on the count by 59 birders in the field and another 57 people counting birds at their feeders. And again, just like anything else, birders want to talk about numbers and the rare species. So it's always exciting when your local count sets a state or national record. The Williamsburg Christmas bird count holds these state records for the highest number of birds seen on any count in Virginia. And we saw the Western meadowlark picture on the previous slide. I'm sorry, what?
Notice the white pelicans.
Yeah, those are usually, you see them at Hog Island across, right? Here's some national records that are held by Christmas bird counts in Virginia, including the top one, the most ruddy ducks ever seen on a Christmas bird count in the US were seen in Williamsburg in 1996. The ringneck pheasants high count was at Cape Charles, red-throated loons, woodcocks. Cape Charles is another count that always gets big numbers and rare species. Red-bellied woodpeckers and Carolina wrens at Fort Belvoir. That's another one. And Fort Belvoir has 200 plus participants. They have a lot of participants on that count. These are some new record high counts that were observed just last year on the Williamsburg Christmas bird count. We set new records for northern harrier, lesser blackback gulls, red-bellied woodpeckers, downy woodpeckers, eastern bluebirds, and dark-eyed juncos. Here's a little bit of the announcement that's going to be in the, or was it in the newsletter? I'm trying to think, it was just in the newsletter. I abbreviated a little bit, but what Jim put in about the Christmas bird count, it's nice to see that information about where it's centered and some of the hot spots that we try to, that are covered during the count for Jamestown, Hog Island, New Quarter Park, and so on. So how many of you participated on a Christmas bird count in Williamsburg? I'm preaching to the choir. Were you in the field? Raise your hand if you were in the field. Again. Anybody do any feeder watching? Okay. Afterwards, yeah, exactly. I am preaching to the choir. This year, Jim Corliss, the Williamsburg Christmas Bird Count compiler, would like more feeder watchers to participate. Feeder watchers are essential to Christmas bird counts. As many of us have feeders, and we can easily count the birds we're seeing at our feeders in our yards. Field observers on Christmas bird counts are out busy hiking trails, hiking parks, hiking bases, wildlife management areas, and traveling the roads, and obviously can't see into all of our yards and see our birds. The first year that a feeder watcher helped with the Williamsburg Christmas bird count was 1979, 2 years after we reinstituted Christmas bird counts. Over the past 10 years, an average of 50 feeder watchers have participated on each count. You can contribute to this bird census data for Williamsburg, Virginia, the United States, and even the world by simply recording the birds that you see at your feeder and in your yard on the day of the Williamsburg count this year, December 17th, 2023. Is there anybody who hasn't participated on a Christmas bird count? Do you have bird feeders?
Yes.
Yay. Can you identify most of the birds at your feeder?
Yes.
Good. Do you sometimes keep a list of the birds in your yard?
Not yet.
But you might be willing to? Good. So if you live in the Williamsburg Christmas bird count circle, you could become a feeder watcher for this year's Christmas bird count. This is not a very good map of the count circle, but as you can see, it extends clear across the York River, extends down into the James River, and extends west all the way past Centerville Road. I'm not sure whether or not that gives you any idea whether or not you live in the count circle. But I'll give you my email address in a minute, and you can email me or Jim, and we can help you make sure you're in the count circle so that you can count. You know you are?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. These are some older record high counts that are just waiting to be broken if we got more feeder watchers participating. They're all common birds that we see in our yards. We know that there are more of these birds in the count circle that aren't being counted, so we want your help. So anybody see a blue jay at their feeder today? See, we have them coming. Carolina chickadee, tufted titmouse, white-breasted nuthatch. Oh, good. Carolina wren. No, not that many. Chipping sparrows, white-throated sparrows, cardinal, house finch. I thought everybody had house finches at their feeders, right? Well, now let me show you a few unusual birds that would have been missed if not for feeder watchers in Williamsburg. The first ruby-throated hummingbird on a Christmas bird count in Williamsburg was seen in 2017 at a feeder. The first black-chinned hummingbird and only was seen in 2019, again, coming to a feeder.
Is this Williamsburg?
This is Williamsburg. Yeah, this is Williamsburg. Yeah, thank you. She was asking if this was Williamsburg. It is. The first time a rufous hummingbird was seen on the Williamsburg count was in 2002. And we've had, I think there have been 2 instances since. I should have double checked, but we've seen them. We have had them on subsequent counts. The only Allen's hummingbird was seen on the Williamsburg count in 2016, obviously at a feeder. That's a picture from that count. Red-breasted nuthatches, if it's an eruptive year, we don't get nearly as many of them counted out in the field as we would if we were counting them at feeders, because if they're around, they're coming to feeders with everything else. And the only rose-breasted grosbeak was seen in 2014 at a feeder. Baltimore Orioles, I don't think we'd have them on the count if it wasn't for people who had feeders out, that they've all been seen at feeders, and I'm sure there are more around that people potentially have, so we'd like to get a better count. Pine siskins, again, if it's an eruptive year.
They come to my feeder.
The pine siskins?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not always this far south. It kind of depends on the seed crop for further north. We've had them the last few years. The seed crops have been bad in Canada, and so they've been coming south. They don't every year, but you get a lot of them when you get them, right? Yeah, so that's why we'd like to count them at feeders for the Christmas bird count. And purple finches, again, we don't get them every year. Be sure you can tell the difference between a purple finch and a house finch for the Christmas bird count. And if you're not sure, the male purple finch, notice he's really raspberry purple. He's not that orangey red of a house finch. And the female purple finch, notice that white eyebrow. The house finches, female house finches don't have that. Just the female purple finches have that. So that's always a good field mark to look for and make sure you're looking at a purple finch. If they've come south, I don't remember the forecast. I don't,
I've seen purple.
have you been seeing them? So they are
Yeah, I know, not lots.
not a lot, but they're around. Good,
House.
good. So there are a few around. I didn't think that they were supposed to, it was be too big a year, but if there are a few around, let's hope we get them on the count. So if you haven't participated on a Christmas bird count, please start by becoming a feeder watcher. You do need to let the compiler know that you plan to participate. So this is Jim Corliss's email address to let him know that you plan to participate. This is a page of instructions for feeder watching if you're new to it. I'm not going to go through all of it. I'd be preaching to the choir. It basically talks about how to count the birds so that you don't double count, how to keep track of the time that you're spending while you're counting, how to start using eBird if you don't already use eBird because you need to submit your data using eBird. And I brought a few copies of this. So I've got a copy if you'd like to have a copy, see me afterwards. Yes.
So this is not the same as the Cornell Lab of Ornithology.
Feeder watching, no, this is separate because we only do this once a year for the Christmas bird count. Yes. A lot of the things that you do are very, very similar, but they're two separate things. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Rexanne, do you want a chat question as they come in?
Sure.
If you participate as a home feeder watch participant, is the boundary specifically geographically limited to your yard, or do you also report on birds that you see from your yard? For example, we live on a wooded area on Halfway Creek. You see a lot of waterfowl and other birds outside of our property line.
I'm not sure you all heard. The question was, if you're doing feeder watching, is there a strict geographical boundary for your yard? Or this person apparently lives on a creek and has some waterfowl that are there. Feeder watching is specifically for feeders and basically what you can see from your window in your yard sort of idea. I would say if you have to walk down to the creek to be able to count those birds, then you're not participating as a feeder watcher. You're participating more as a field observer, and you need to talk to Jim Corliss or myself. Let us know about that, because you have to keep track of how far you walk, for example, if you're a field observer, as opposed to a feeder watcher doesn't have to keep track of distance. They just have to keep track of time. So it changes the rules a little bit. Yeah,
But if you can see those birds on the pond from your kitchen table, that's still legitimate.
that's legitimate. As long as you're not moving, that you're not walking down to see them, yes, then that's okay.
But is there any particular reason why, we call it feeder watch because that's how, because they come to it, but do we want to know if certain birds that don't normally come to feed, is it?
Like mockingbirds, towhees that don't necessarily come to the feeder, but they're around in your yard,
so that
perfectly legitimate to count those birds.
Right, but I was wondering if they're looking at that kind of information too. In other words, if they're a bird that doesn't typically come.
You mean whether or not the compiler is looking at that separately? She's asking about those birds that aren't really feeder birds.
Information about it, in other words, it's not just because you're getting these birds because you have them at the feeder, but some of them may come that don't ever go to the feeder.
Yeah, and it's because if you have the habitat in your yard that attracts those birds, then it's perfectly all right for you to count them if they're coming in. I'm not sure I've answered your question.
I'm not sure I'm explaining it, so that's okay.
Rexanne,
Yeah.
another one. from where I am, I can look out the pond and see a bunch of stuff. But what I'm wondering is if somebody else is counting those birds in the field, how do we tell whether there's any overlap there?
You mean if somebody's going by and counting the birds at the pond that you can see from your house?
Yeah,
I think you know who counts that.
actually, no, I don't.
It's, I just lost her name. Sharon.
Posher?
Sharon does that.
Okay.
She does Ford's Colony. Yeah. So just check. My guess is she probably doesn't spend much time on that pond because she covers a pretty wide territory. She's over at Powhatan and a couple of other developments. So she's got a lot to cover.
Okay.
So my guess is, and you can always check with her and see if she got those there. She would know where she got them. Yes.
Does somebody check Queens Lake, because I can see.
Yes.
quite a bit from
Somebody does cover Queens Lake. And again, if your feet are watching at Queens Lake and you turn them in, Jim will know who was actually there and may have done, and he'll be able to see if he'll make sure that nothing is double counted. That if he sees that you've got 8 Canada geese and somebody else that he know, the person who's normally looking at Queens Lake had 12, then he's guessing that those are probably all the same. So yeah, Jim's very careful about that. So do include them on your list. Jim's the one that will go through it and look at where your house is. And if there's, if you're reporting waterfowl, he knows who would have looked at that lake or pond or whatever. So, any other questions? I didn't really repeat some of them. Was everybody able to hear those questions? Okay. And then also, if you'd like to just keep a paper checklist during the day and then enter everything into eBird later, Jim and I put together this paper checklist, and it's on the back of this copy that I have here. And for any of you that are watching on Zoom, email me. I'll send you copies, PDFs of both of these, if you want the checklist or if you want the instructions.
Hey, Rexanne, can I introduce one comment? This is Jim.
Hi.
Hi, Rexanne. I just wanted to, hold on.
Disembodied.
Yeah. I lost you, Jim. I don't hear you.
He's muted himself again.
Oh,
No, I just wanted on my speaker. So I just had when you're watching and your data into eBird. Please just indicate where you were, where your house was located, either with geographic coordinates or an address or something that allows me, helps me determine if there's any overlap with other field counters. I think some of you are accustomed to me writing emails after the bird count asking you where you were. And if you can do that upfront in your eBird, that would really help a lot.
yeah. And hopefully they'll have it in the eBird list. It'll give their location. But yeah, if not, put it in the comments or put it in the memo section when they share the list with you. And there's instructions about how to share the list on those instructions. Jim, I know you saw that, Jim. So make a note of the date. Help us out, feeder watching on the Williamsburg Christmas bird count. If you don't already, or if you're already participating, I hope you get home in time to watch your feeders for a little while. Again, it's December 17th, 2023. There's my email address and Jim's email address if you need it. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Have you got one from the Zoom?
Several now.
Okay.
If any of our attendees would like to participate in more than one CBC, the Great Dismal Swamp CBC is Saturday, December 30th. All experience levels are welcome. To sign up and be put in a team, please contact lauralovesbirds@gmail.com.
Yeah, somebody new doing it.
lauralovesbirds@gmail.com.
Good.
And then Cindy, if you would like to participate in the Back Bay CBC on December 29th, please contact Cindy Hamilton at Hamilton House VA hamiltonhouseva@gmail.com, hamiltonhouseva@gmail.com.
Or they can contact me and I can put you in touch with either one of those people.
Right. You do have a technical comment. Your microphone might be too close to the speaker.
No, it's actually my loud voice. I have a teacher voice.
Somebody said,
Sorry about that.
when is Christmas Bird Count Week start and end dates?
Christmas bird counts, the official rules from Audubon, the first counts can always be held each year from December 14th until January 5th. That's always the Christmas bird count season. And so all Christmas bird counts have to schedule their date, one date within that time period. Go ahead.
You say a 24-hour period. How long do you need to count to participate?
You can count for 10 minutes and participate. It's any length of time within that date from midnight to midnight. But you can count for any length of time during the day, whatever time you have to sit and watch your feeders. Is that it, Ann? Because George has got a question.
Question about the count week. Isn't there something about if you see a bird in count week, report it, but it doesn't get included in the numbers?
What it is, if you see an unusual bird up to 3 days before the count date or 3 days after the count date, that's considered to be count week for that count. And if no one else sees that bird on the day of the count, then we include that, but we say it's a count week bird. It's not counted in the numbers, but we know that bird was around because it was seen count week. Any other questions? Any from the Zoom? We good, Ann? All right, thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead, Shirley.
I was just gonna say that there are a number of counts. There's the Hampton Roads
Yeah.
Bird Count, which is Christmas bird count, which is this day before our.
Mhm.
There's on Saturday, ours on Sunday.
Yes,
There are a couple up on the Gloucester.
yeah, there's several up on the neck.
Yeah, so I've been getting emails about they want volunteers and such.
Mm.
So you have the opportunity to participate in more than one.
Yes, definitely. Well, and at one time, we used to put a list of those dates up on the VSO website, and we've kind of stopped that. But they are, you can look at the Audubon website and find the dates of any, find the counts that are around us. You can look at that map that I had. And then if you click on one of those little birds on the map, it'll tell you what the date of the count is and who to contact if you want to participate. So. And obviously, if you've written down my email address, or if you know Shirley's or Nancy's, they can put you in touch with me and I can help you find those other counts if you think you'd like to participate on some other ones. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I do, let me stand in front of the mic. Stop sharing that. I do love the Williamsburg bird count, but my absolute favorite I do with Rexanne is the Nansemond. It's the
Nansemond River count.
It's 2nd of
2nd of
January.
January this year.
And every bird you get is a new bird for the year. And we always get, we get a sedge wren, we get all kinds of really fun,
It's a
fun
fun
birds on
count.
that count. So
Fun way to start the year.
Yeah.
I would, and Shirley, I would encourage folks to, yeah, Jan has done that one. We have to wear rubber boots and go wading out into the marsh, but we end up with a sedge wren. But I would encourage folks to participate in others. It'll get you out and about and see some other habitats and things.
Yeah, and like Shirley said, there are plenty around. There's a count in Matthews County. There's a count in Hopewell. There's a count, the Hampton Roads count, Newport News count. There's really a lot of them around. So if you're enjoying the counts, there are lots of them you can participate in. Yes.
We have one in Powell River in British Columbia too.
Oh.
There you go.
For those of you in Zoom land, we're being offered one in British Columbia. So pack your
Sounds like
bags.
fun.
Coldest I've ever been was with Shirley on the Back Bay Christmas count. We were at Offler Creek. It was, I think, 12 degrees when we got out of the car. 3 hours later, when we got back in, it was 13 degrees. And it was fun in that odd way that that birding can be fun no matter what. So I would encourage everybody to participate. Yes, Kathy.
Who are all those other people we're seeing on the screen?
These are our Zoom attendees.
Other club members?
We have 25 participants on Zoom tonight. So we got a great crowd.
Probably more than that, if you don't know who are.
Right.
people watching.
It's a wonderful crowd. And that speaks to,
No, I know, we're taking them off.
that speaks to the fact that we're talking to the pro here about Christmas bird counts. There's nobody who knows more than Rexanne. So the enthusiasm is high after Rexanne has told us all the great things. And who knows who's going to be the one to find, something rare. We've got lots of birds that haven't been seen yet. So thank you again, Rexanne. Just quickly, we have some announcements. Let's see. We don't have a meeting or newsletter in December, so this is our last meeting until January. And the January meeting will be remote. Is that correct? Yeah. Dixie Summers. Oh, yeah. Oh, this will be a wonderful one. It's Zoom only. Dixie Summers is going to talk about birding in New Zealand. So that'll be a fun one. Let's see, upcoming, our very next event is the field trip to Grandview Nature Preserve this Saturday. We will meet at the preserve entrance at 8 o'clock. If you would like to carpool, please contact George Martin. It sounds like he's the man if you are interested in carpooling. This is a wonderful destination. Everybody loves Grandview. Lots of potential for seeing sea ducks and raptors and little birds and sedge wrens, and it's a wonderful trip. And Michelle Gianvecchio is going to lead it. She's a relatively new to the area birder. She's an outstanding birder. She's got those young ears and eyes, and she will help us get on everything that's out there. So that's going to be great.
Nancy,
Yes.
you might ask her to put her video on for a minute.
Oh, Michelle, can you show us? I can't see everybody, so I don't know. I know she's out there. Well, we won't embarrass her, but Michelle, we're all looking forward to the trip. And let's see, our next bird walk, we do have a bird walk on November 25th. I have a feeling I have to pinch hit for Scott that day. He's got something going on in Williamsburg, but that will be Saturday, the 25th at 8 o'clock. We will also have a December walk, and I believe that's the 23rd, right before Christmas. But I'll be out there with anybody who, bring your family, bring your out-of-town guests, come to New Quarter Park. And of course, the Christmas bird count, that's the big thing. And we've just heard everything we need to know about that. We will not have a newsletter until January, but Mary Ellen would like particularly to get some things about your experiences, pictures, stories, little articles about your experience on the Christmas bird count. So the deadline is December 28th. Yeah.
Might want to mention the New Year's Day meeting.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I am getting there. That's next up. So the deadline for the newsletter is the 28th. And then we hit January 1st. Here it is at New Quarter Park. This is Shirley's, however many years she's been doing this, many. It's the Every Bird is a Year bird gathering at New Quarter Park at noon, 1 o'clock, sorry, 1 o'clock, New Quarter Park out by the fire pit. If it's cold, we'll have a fire. That's a lot of fun. We do look at birds, but we do a lot of visiting. So that's January 1st. Every Bird is a Year bird with Shirley and everybody. So then the January meeting is Zoom only. The January field trip is Dutch Gap, I believe.
January 20th.
January 20th, yeah, and more will come out about all of these in emails, and the January newsletter will have updates on all of these things. Cheryl had reported that, I don't know if you want to say anything about it, but that Chickahominy, they're starting a new project, going to be doing a little disruption, but hopefully not disrupting the colony.
Big disruption.
Big disruption.
They're moving all of their area cars are stored and parked. And they're moving that over behind the pond. And the pond is that's on a hill, so they're moving all that dirt into the field where the purple markers and blue blocks are.
For you Zoom folks, Cheryl is describing some serious fill moving that's going to take place at Chickahominy. And it's going to come very close to the Purple Martin colony. Hopefully, it doesn't cause any disruption. And it's going to be done by the spring, correct?
Well, they're starting the 20th of November.
Okay.
And they're working well with us. We're gonna be out there with shovels watching, so the poles will get.
Oh, the Purple Martin landlords are going to be out there watching, so they don't dare come too close.
Just wanted to let you know, so if you see a lot of activity, you'll know that we're aware of it.
Okay, so that, yeah, the takeaway there is that Cheryl and company are aware that this is going to happen. They're going to be keeping an eye on it. I don't have anything else. Yes,
There is a shout out to you.
to me.
Sheila Morris says she's here because you gave her time to teach her about birding.
Oh, yeah, I did teach the ornithology class last night for basic training. It was a lot of fun. They're a very receptive audience, a lot of fun. So now we're going to have our election of officers, and Shirley is going to take over on that. I think in the past with the Zoom audience, probably the best, I can't honestly remember what we did, but I think it's basically, if you want to vote no, vote no. Otherwise, it's kind of like by acclamation. I'm not sure how to characterize it, but I'm going to turn it over to Shirley. Yeah, we'll work it out.
I think everybody has the ability to raise their hand or use one of their gestures there if they want to vote yes or no. And so I don't expect any problem. But once a year, we bring up our bird club bylaws. We don't talk about our bylaws very often, but once a year in November, we talk about our bylaws. And in November, we have to, according to our bylaws, have elections of officers. So I'm going to read the bylaws. It's not complicated. Back in 1977, when they wrote the bylaws, bless their hearts, probably Ruth Beck and Bill Williams and Tom Armour and some other folks. Anyway, I bet they wrote the bylaws and they were very smart and they made them very short, a page and a half. And that's just the best kind of bylaws. Anyway, here it is, Article 4, the officers. This is the relevant part in the bylaws about our elections. Elective officers of the club shall be the president, first vice president, second vice president, secretary, treasurer, and 2 other elected members. The above, together with the immediate past president, shall constitute the executive board. The office of secretary and treasurer may be confined. Officers shall be elected for terms of 1 calendar year. And then Article 7 talks about elections and says election of officers listed in Article 4, Section 1 shall be held at the last club meeting of the year, and any member is eligible. At the next to last club meeting of the year, usually October. We overachieved this year. It's September. The executive board shall designate 3 members to serve as a nominating committee. This committee shall prepare a slate of 1 nominee for each office or position named in Section 1, Article 4. The slate shall be presented to the membership via the November issue of the club's newsletter and from the podium during the November meeting. That's what we're doing right now. And the slate of officers was in the November newsletter. Nominations will be invited for any office and may be made from the floor at the November meeting prior to voting by the membership. All nominees must have indicated their willingness to serve if elected. This is important. These new folks, listen to this. Officers elected shall assume the office at the first club meeting of the new calendar year, January 17th, 2024. So don't worry about January 1. Happens on January 17th. Vacancies occurring during the calendar year may be filled by appointment of the executive board, but only for the unexpired portion of the term. So I'm going to read the slate of officers for your consideration for 2024 Bird Club Board. President Nancy Barnhart, Vice President for Programs Patty Maloney, Vice President for Newsletter Mary Ellen Hodges, Treasurer Ann Carpenter, Secretary Kathy Millar, Member at Large Donna Benson, and Member at Large Deborah Humphreys. So first of all, I want to, first thing I need to do is, are there any nominations from the floor? Any coming through Zoom, Ann? Okay, that's good. So I guess before I guess I have to make a motion and then somebody has to second it. But I want to say thank you to Cheryl Jacobson and to Jeanette Navia for serving with me on the nominating committee. It takes a village to get it done. And so we were got it done pretty quick, and we're grateful for the folks who are going to serve next year. So I guess, is there a motion to accept this slate of nominees?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Lois Richard.
Okay. Any more discussion? So everybody who approves this motion here in the room, raise your hand. Okay, looks like everybody's raising their hand. Those who are zooming in at home can raise your hand or give a thumbs up or somehow indicate your, okay. I can't see everybody, so. Let's put it this way. Does anybody object? If you object, shout out on Zoom. Yeah, there's, somebody's put their hand up there. Well, first of all, I want to thank Gary Carpenter, who is moving off the board as a member at large. He's still going to be working as an assistant editor for the newsletter, and he's also going to be working with the child development resources to keep their feeder stations filled there at their child care center. And I'm stepping off the board for the first time in quite a few years, but I'm not going anywhere. So I'll be around and be glad to lend assistance, however. I want to thank Deborah Humphreys and Donna Benson. Raise your hands if you're here. Everybody know Deborah and Donna are joining the board. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve on the board. We appreciate your insights and knowledge and energy as we go into 2024. Any questions?
No, but you kind of stole my thunder, because I was going to say that even though Shirley and Gary are going off the board as members at large, not to worry, we're not letting them go. Gary, as Shirley said, is continuing on as assistant editor. They're going to be in committee chairperson positions. We will never let Shirley go. So Shirley's actually has agreed to serve as liaison to VSO, and anything else we're going to line her up with. So I would like to thank you both so much for being in the member at large position, but they're not going anywhere. So thank you so much. And thank you to the nominating committee.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you to Deborah and Donna for joining the board. We have a good time. It's a fun board. Now, I don't have any other announcements. Does anybody have an announcement anywhere in the chat? We have anything out there? we do have Kathy Flanagan is going to bring us into the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share my screen, see if I can do this.
I don't know quite how that'll work for them.
Yeah, we're not sure how this is gonna work, but,
Because I'm gonna try to get, I'm gonna need 12 people. I'm going to hand
oh,
these
12
out.
people.
Well, I'm gonna 12 hand these.
I hadn't heard about all these 12 people. Okay,
All right. Now, somebody can help me distribute. Just try to get some
In,
people to
um,
share. There's not enough
those of
time.
you in Zoom land, we're having,
I can help.
it looks like lyrics distribution going on here. Kathy has come up with,
Share whatever.
I hope Kathy's gonna sing it because
And I'm gonna help.
You got one already.
Okay, so now,
Kathy, I'm gonna ask you to come up here and lead it from up here.
well, okay. I'm gonna get the,
Okay,
I'm gonna ask somebody first. I'm gonna need 12 people.
oh boy, that's gonna be
So,
half the people here.
somebody just come up. Someone's gonna
Here, I'll
have.
take somebody.
It's not gonna be anything painful, so. Oh, it's gonna be painful.
Bear with us for a minute. In Zoom land, we're distributing some props.
Everyone, where is that? Okay, you can take one. Take one.
We have to be in order, folks. We don't have to
Doesn't
do
know
it
because
solo.
you're gonna. You wanna be a cardinal. You wanna be.
Somebody else that I know.
You wanna be a bird, no, well, we're gonna find out. Okay. Well, the song, will let you know.
Oh, Kathy, I'm gonna let you lead that song at the.
I will.
At
I
Zoom
will.
land.
So you have to be in order.
Get it?
I don't know.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
So left to the right. You want to face the other way.
There's a drive.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna start. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna leave this.
Okay, folks at home, Kathy, they don't have lyrics though, right, on Zoom land?
They don't have a list.
Lyrics?
Can you share it?
Well, you're sharing your screen, aren't you?
Well, but I don't think we have the
Can
lyrics.
Oh, well, then you can
If
just
you
watch it
page
club
through,
up.
is that?
No, I mean, we're gonna
Okay,
get,
I'm going to tell you, yeah, I guess.
it doesn't have lyrics.
And there's no way to share the page.
No, not at this point.
The lyrics were. in-
Okay, so those of you in Zoom, the lyrics to this 12 days of feeder watch were in the newsletter.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna help everyone.
Am I okay with the bird back here, or should I be someplace, or should I give my,
I thought it would all just pop up from somewhere,
okay,
but, we're gonna start, that's what you can do. When you get to your number, I want you to raise it high.
okay, tell me,
Okay.
what do you want? Do you want me to move through by bird?
We're gonna go bird by bird.
Okay.
But I'm gonna give you a few pointers here.
Okay,
Okay, first of all, if you have number 4, that's a mockingbird. And that mockingbird is gonna maybe mess us up right while we're going through the song. It's gonna be singing the wrong song because it thinks it knows what to do. No, I'm just teasing.
okay, so we are holding different birds here. I'm telling the folks at home, okay.
Now, what we're gonna do to help you with the lyrics, if you wanna look at it, but you're holding something, it's hard. But we wanna say, on the first day of feeder watch, a bird that I did see, one Carolina chickadee.
Oh, there,
On the second day of feeder watch, the birds that I did see, 2 mourning doves and a 1 Carolina chickadee. On the third day of feeder watch, the birds that I did see, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. Now you notice you got mealworms for his.
Oh, we still have him behind us.
That's a house sparrow.
Okay. On the 3rd day.
Oh, wait,
of-
fourth.
Oh, yeah. On the 4th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 4 jingle bells, jingle bells. Oh, he's, okay, wait a minute. Stop it.
We're not doing a very good job here.
Okay, great. On the 5th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. Now raise this high. 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. On the 6th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden rays, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. Okay, check out this cedar waxwing.
Okay.
Go back. Groups are welcome to the old berry shop, and they are open.
Groups are
Okay. All right, on the 7th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. On the 8th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 8 eastern bluebirds, 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. On the 9th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 9 northern cardinals, 8 eastern bluebirds, 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. You see the cardinal got his sunflower seed?
Yeah.
On the 10th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 10 tufted titmice, 9 northern cardinals, 8 eastern bluebirds, 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. On the 11th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 11 dark-eyed juncos, 10 tufted titmice, 9 northern cardinals, 8 eastern bluebirds, 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. On the 12th day of Peter watched the birds that I did see. 12 red-winged blackbirds, 11 dark-eyed juncos, 10 tufted titmice, 9 northern cardinals, 8 eastern bluebirds, 7 songbirds singing, 6 cedar waxwings, 5 golden eyes, 4 mockingbirds, 3 house wrens, 2 mourning doves, and 1 Carolina chickadee. That was
I'm not sure what all you got from that, but this is what everybody was holding up their bird, and on the proper cue, we raised our birds. So I hope that was entertaining to all of you. Anybody else? We still have folks in Zoom land here. Anybody else have any announcements, anything going on? Thank you all so much for participating, and I hope everybody gets out and does Christmas bird count. I hope you first come to Grandview on Saturday and New Quarter Park on the 25th, 20, whatever it was. Anyway, hope to see you all out there, out and about, and let us know if you, let Rexanne know, or me or Jim, if you would like to participate in Christmas bird count in any way. And other than thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for singing along, or at least tolerating us as we sang along to Kathy's very, very cute 12 Days of Feeder Watch. So with that, we are finished, and we thank Rexanne again for a wonderful program. I think we're all really inspired to go out and count some birds. Right. So thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's have refreshments. Yes.